Okay. Right. So what we have done so far, we have extracted this zip file that we downloaded from the classroom. It got a few folders there and an instruction file, okay, which is a Word document. So we're gonna follow the Word document and then we're gonna create the website. Okay. So I have already opened my Notepad++. So yeah. So the first thing we have to do is to create a file called parallax HTML. So I'm going to copy the name. So the file, empty file is already there. Go to File, Save As, and now I'm going to go into this particular folder that we just created. Okay, over here, I'm going to copy paste this file name and make sure the Save As type is all type. Okay, not anything else. So use this one and hit save. So yes. So they're saying it's already open because I was practicing it last night. So let's close these files. Okay. So let's try to save it now. I think it's already created. Yeah, it's already here now. So let me open this file. No. Let me delete it. Let's delete this one. Let's try again. Okay, that's his empty file. It should be empty. Okay, now let's go back to the Word document. So, okay, for any HTML, because this is the HTML file, HTML, the website that we're gonna develop today. So, for any HTML website, we have to follow a specific format. This is something we discussed last session as well. So, you have to type in this session over here. Okay, we start with the Doctype. Okay, so this is Doctype is HTML, so that means the document type. Okay, so this is HTML document. That's what we're saying here. Then you have to have a HTML starting HTML tag and also closing HTML tag. So any tag that you will start, it should have a closing tag as well. The closing tag is basically similar what you typed here before, and it basically had this slash over here, /. Okay, so now after HTML we need a head tag. Okay, so let's have this one. Let's have the closing tag on the same time. Okay, in a head tag you basically type in your metadata information and also the title of your website. Okay, so let's type in meta, and we have to say the character set that we are using for this website, and we are using UTF-8. Okay, so this is the one that we're using for this one. So the next thing we have to do is the title. We have to define the title of our website. So the title is creating a simple parallax scrolling website. So I will keep it simple. I will say parallax website. Okay, so this is the title, and now the title needs to have a closing tag as well. Okay, for metadata you don't have to, but you can always use this one to close. Okay, so now we have this one. I'm gonna save it. Next one is a body tag. So this is where all our contents are gonna go. Okay, that's it. The coding is done. You can say it's exactly same as this one. I've saved it as well. So let's run our website. To run the website, I'm gonna go back to our folder. There's this file over here. I'm gonna click on this and I'm gonna run it. Okay, at the moment you can see this is the website. It's empty, but on the top you can see this title is there, because this is what we have defined. We haven't got anything in the body yet. That's why this is a blank page. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this one and I'm gonna refer to this one again. Now let's go back to our instructions file and the notepad file and add a few more stuff. Okay, Now the number 4, they are saying that we should add the reference to our style sheet and also our JavaScript file. Although we do not have those files yet, but we can add the reference now, and then later down when we will add those files in, then they will be automatically linked. So first of all, in order to add the style sheet, the tag is called link. This is a link tag, is especially used for a style sheet, and then you have to give it a relative, which is a style sheet. Okay. So the next one is a reference, which hrefs means reference where your file is saved. So as you know, we have a folder in that website folder called CSS, and this is where we will be saving our style sheet, and the name it will be the CSS style.css. This will be the name of our website. No. Okay, now you're gonna have a closing tag here. Okay, link. Now, okay, either you can have an opening tag and closing tag, but if you have just one line of code, then you don't have to type in a link over here again. Instead, what you can do, I will copy this one. What you can do, you can delete this one, and before this the sign greater than sign, just put the /. This is basically equal to having this this line. Okay, so if your line of code or your let's say tag is basically a one line, then you don't have to put a big link there, and you can use a / before the greater than sign, and it's basically the same. And I will be using this one throughout this development. Okay, now next one is adding a link to JavaScript. For the JavaScript, we use something called a script. Okay, so the tag that we're going to use for JavaScript is called script, and then we have to use a type. So what type is it? So this is a text JavaScript. Okay, and after that we have to set the source like hrefs for style sheet, and for JavaScript the tag is called source. Source is simply the name where location of your file and also the name of your file. For this we're gonna call it jQuery dot -1.10.2.min.js. Okay, make sure these names are correct, otherwise you will have issues. Okay, so I've done this one. Now the next one is we in a body tag add the following piece of code, which is a navigation bar. Okay, the navigation that we had on our website. So in order to have the navigation, we're gonna go here, and first of all we're gonna have a logo. Okay, so we're gonna add a div tag, which is a division on your website. So div id is equal to logo. So we're gonna give a tag ID to this particular section, and in this one we're gonna have a reference tag, a reference. So a is basically a link if you want to create a link in your website. So we can have hrefs, which would again point to a location. We're gonna keep it empty for now. Okay, so let's have this one, closing tag for a. Okay, and also the closing tag for div. Okay, let's save this one and let's run our website again and see how it looked like. So this was the website. Let's refresh this one. Let me save this one quickly. Okay, nothing displayed yet. Let's go back, add a few more stuff in, and basically should show this parallax there. But let's add a few more stuff in there, and then we will do this. Sorry, I forget few things over here. Header, we're gonna keep a header here as well. Okay, header tag after the body. We're gonna have a header tag. So this is a header of our web page. Okay, and after that we're gonna have another empty div. Okay, And let's have a closing tag for div as well. Let's have a closing tag for header. Okay, now one more quickly thing, you can either use a tab to format your application, or otherwise you can install some sort of plugin as well that can do this formatting or automatically for you. I've got something called Tidy2. Okay, this is one of the plugins that you can download and install, and it will do all the formatting for you. Okay, so in order to do this one, usually you have something called open plugin admin. I think this is where you can find out the available plugins. Simply type tidy2 or tidy, and you should be able to find somewhere over here. Let me see if we got something called tidy. I think because I've already installed it, that maybe that's why it's not in my list anymore. But you should be able to find this one, okay, on your notepad. Okay, so I will carry on following the instructions. The next one is, so we have done the header tag, we have got the div tag as well, we got the logos now here. Okay, and we got the div section, close the div section. The next thing we're gonna add is now the navigation. Okay, so after this div, I'm gonna add now the nav tag, and the ID for this one is nav. Okay, now it's always good to have a closing tag straight away. Otherwise, sometime you may forget to add the closing tag. Okay, now I'm gonna add the unstructured list. Okay, so having the closing tag, and now the list, the actual list that will display all the menu bar on your web page. Okay. So I have the list, and in the list, I'm going to use the A tag. This A tag means if you want to add any link to the website. So A is basically for link. Reference is the reference to your the page that you want to display. Okay, over here, I'm going to call it slide 1. Okay, and now the title for that one is we can call it next section. And after that, close this one and call it slide 1. Close your A tag and also close your li tag. Okay, so we got this one. Now what we can simply do, we can copy this and paste it 4 times. Now let's change these slides to number 2, number 3, 4, and 5, and also change this reference to 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and I'm going to use my plugin again to format this one properly. Okay, so this is now saved. I will now try to run it one more time and see if I can see anything. Okay, not yet, so let me follow. So after we done this one, now I'm gonna add in the following code after the head tag. Okay, so this is the code for that one. That's for slide 1. So here's my header tag. So after this, I'm gonna be adding this particular code. So this is called a div tag. Again, the ID is equal to slide 1. So this is basically this link that we created. We're gonna create a section for that one now. Okay, now the div section, and again one more div with the ID equal to Christmas underscore tree. Make sure you use the right spelling, guys, otherwise you will have issues when you're loading up your website. Okay, so this is done. So I'm gonna copy this one, and use this one again. So this is called Snow Flakes 1. Run done. This is wrong. Okay, so copy this one now. So this is simply change the 1 to 2. Okay. So after this, this is done. Now we're gonna have our header tags. So H2, we have 6 type of header tags from H1, H2, H3, 4, 5, and 6. So I will be using H2 tag now. Okay. Now Mary, let's close the H2 tag. Again, I've got H1 tag, and this is called Christmas. H1. And after this one is done, we're gonna have a one divider. Okay, so this is called a div id, then id is a divider. Okay, so this is done. So now let's have a closing tag. So, and the last one is h3, which is Happy New Year. Okay, now we're gonna have one ribbon underneath. So this will be id called ribbon, and closing div tag. Finally, we have a div id of new year, new underscore year. Okay, and now close the div tag as well. Okay, this is done. So the next one is copy the remaining code underneath. So we're gonna copy all of this code and we're gonna paste it here. Okay, now let's preview this website. So go back to our page again and run this one. It's not working over here. Let me close this and try to run it again. So it seems like there are some issues. So let's investigate our code. I must be missing something over here. That's why it's not displaying. So we go HTML tag, we go head tag. This one is here, script is here. Body tag is here, header, we got the header ID as well. We got the div tag, which is our logo, the nav. I'll simply try to put something here and see whether it displays. Okay, let's run this one again. Now, why is not displaying anything here? Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna copy the file from this location and keep it outside and see what happens. Somehow we have nothing in the body. Okay, let me check again. Use a different browser for this one and see whether there's an issue with the browser. Nope. So there is something issue with the file. Let me save it as. Okay, not sure why it's not displaying. That's there. Okay, let's run any HTML editor. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to copy the code that we have just created. Let me see one more time. Okay, let's check this one with the editor. Does it display anything? Maybe not this one. Okay, maybe this one is better. So let's try this. I see, I think we have done something here. Yeah, this was maybe the issue. Yeah, there's a script tag that was the issue with our website. So let me go back. So website production, this was the one, this one, and this. So what we have to do is did one mistake in my editor. So let's close this. This is the one. The issue is here. You need a closing tag for your script. It doesn't like having the / at the end. So if we save this one now, and if I hit enter, so this is your slide. This is a simple text. I will delete this one. Okay, so this is the one. At the moment, we have just just the HTML, the content. There is no CSS file. There is no JavaScript. And now what we're going to be doing is adding the CSS file and JavaScript to make it look more attractive. Okay, so let me show you what we did before. So this was the one I developed. So it should look something like this. At the moment it looks this, but it should look something like this. So to do this one, we have to create the CSS file, which is a style sheet. Okay, so now let's go back to our program. Okay, so this was the one, and let's open the instructions. So we have done all this, and the next one is we previewed it. It looked like this. So we are now going to add the CS file. Okay, so they want to call it style.css. So click new, okay, file, save as, and make sure it is in the same location under CSS folder. Give it a name, style.css, save it. So the name has been changed. The next thing is we're gonna add some style sheet tags. Okay, now the first thing you're gonna write on the top is a character set. So it start with @ character set equal to, no equal to, it's gonna be UTF-8. So this is a character set that we are using. And after that, we're gonna have a body, which is one of the body tag that we are using. So parentheses, under this, we're gonna add these properties like margin, whether we're gonna add any margin in the body section. So the margin is 0. We do not want any margin there. Again, same thing is for padding. Do we want to have any padding? No. Width, what will be the width of the page? Okay, we're gonna call it 100%. So what this means is this will appear a full. It will capture your full screen. Now we're gonna add some style sheets for our h1 tag. You remember we added these tags, h1, h2, and h3. So for this tag, we're gonna set up the font. So the font family that we want is this one, Arbo. Okay. The next thing, we're gonna set up the font weight, not the family, weight. Okay, the weight, we're gonna set it to normal, and then we're gonna set the font size, and this one is gonna be 55 pixel. And then the text alignment, and we're gonna make sure the text is aligned to center. Okay, and the color of this text, we're gonna keep it, I think it's a white color. So 3xFF, this is the color. Again, we're gonna set the margin 0 and also the padding to 0 as well. Okay, this is the setting for h1. Now we're gonna create the settings for h2. Okay, and the same thing for h3. h2, h3. You can see everything is same apart from the font size. So it is 40. Just change this one. In h3, this one has been changed. So we will use Oswald. So that's the font family. The size is 16. So let's give it a 16. Center is fine, and the margin, this time we have 5px. Padding is 0, and we got some new tags as well. For example, z index. We're gonna set it to 1, and so finally position is gonna be relative. Okay. Then after this, once you've done this one, we're gonna add a few more lines of code. So we have some properties, for example, center. Okay, this is one of the property. So we're gonna set the margin for the center to 0 and auto. And finally, we got content. Again, we got margin. We're gonna set 0 to auto. Width, we're gonna set 960px. Again, once you're done, you can play with these settings as well to see how it affects. And then we need this clear tags to clear any formattings. Okay. So that's it. Once this is done, we have a few things to copy paste. So I will be using the whole of this file and paste it just underneath. Save it. And then I'm gonna copy this quotations as well. Okay, then I have more CSS code for the slides. And finally, we're gonna create our jQuery, which is a JavaScript file. So click new. Let's save this file first. And then I'm gonna click new, save as, and give it a name. Again, we have to make sure it is in a JavaScript folder, okay, not anywhere else. So this is done. JavaScript is already done for you. You don't have to worry about the JavaScript because this lesson is about HTML. One second, where is gone? Okay, here we go. JavaScript has been saved. CSS has been saved, and this has been done as well. So let's go back to our website. So this was our website. So I'm gonna refresh this one. Here you go. You can see the changes has been done. You got the slide for Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's over here. We got the slides here as well. So you can see, all the stuff is here. So it's working as expected. Again, you can work on, and you can look at these issues as well, why we have so much white space here. You can work on this one as well, but this is a sample. Okay, this is how your site can be done using HTML. So just to recap what we have done, we have created, for any HTML website that you will create, you need for the basic structure. You have to define the doc type as HTML, and after that you have to define the basic HTML website format, which is HTML tag, and then you have a header tag to define any of your script files, and also the title of the website, and then the body tag. This is where all your content's gonna go. We had the header tag that defines the navigation, and then we had the slides basic content, which is linked to each of these slide. So for example, slide 1 is linked to this one, and then you have a slide 2 tag which is linked to this particular section over here. Okay, so this is how you create your basic HTML5 website. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now.